Sit down, cozy up, grab your favorite comfort drink.
Because you're listening to the Sippin' Pretty podcast. Well, guys, that's a wrap on spooky season. We have yet to upload our last episode.
Yeah.
But that just means that you guys will get double the content this week.
I know. I took full responsibility. You guys, full accountability. That's the word. Guys, it's a scary one. So it's super scary to edit. Just like we were scared filming it. So editing it is just like
and we couldn't find the time to get together, and not saying these are excuses by any means, but just that we just haven't got to it yet. So it's coming.
But we should have that uploaded already.
Yeah, by the time you see this one.
So you should also, I don't know, double feature.
Yeah.
Double feature.
A little double feature moment.
Yeah. But yeah, what do we have today to drink?
So we went to Dutch Bros. Their holiday drinks are now out as it is November, but we didn't get into those quite yet. We went with, kind of Christmas morning. Yeah. But it's always on the menu, so.
It's in the name.
I have a Christmas morning chai with strawberry soft top.
I also got a Christmas morning chai, but I wanted to venture into the whole Christmas thing. And I asked for a peppermint flavor in there, but I did not like it. Just because I was telling Desi that the peppermint gives more like artificial than it does like actual like minty. Mm-hmm. It's just more like the peppermint flavor and then sugar.
I feel like you should have just got those little peppermint sprinkles on top.
Yeah, I feel like that would have done the
job.
Done the job.
And you got a large. How sad. And you don't like it.
I know.
R.I.P. So today's topic, we kind of wanted to tap into our feminine for the girls, identity that we claim to have created here, that we're trying to fully embody.
Yeah.
I guess.
In this podcast.
Yes. And so today we will be discussing and opening up the conversation to those, how would you word them? Like feminine expectations.
Yeah, just like the stereotypes that women have to almost try and live up to.
Yeah.
Like the expectations that are put on us as women, and again that we think we have to live up to, we think we have to strive for almost in life. Yeah, just because I feel like it's literally, and I was just telling Desi, it's not a recent thing. It's a thing that women have dealt with for many years. Mm-hmm. I mean, women weren't allowed to wear, and this was by men, women weren't allowed to wear pants for a long time. It was just dresses.
Not being able to vote, just all the things. And while we have come a long way, I feel like there are still things that us as a society can like obviously do better at. Like there's obviously room for improvement as time goes on. Yeah. But opening up those conversations and starting the conversation, ending the stigma, whatever, all those cliches, it really does like help, Yeah.
And if society doesn't let us thrive in that area, then at least help you just, I guess, find your own way in which you can thrive on your own and not have to feel like you have to live up to society's, again, meet these stereotypes, that it's okay to just be who you want to be, do what you want to do, have a blue collar job as a woman. Who's gonna say shit? You can make the same amount as a fucking man.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so to start, I want to read the dictionary definition of what femininity itself is, okay? So it is the qualities or attributes regarded as characteristics of women or girls. A lot of the times, the words that are associated, I guess, are like gentleness or like sensitivity, like being sensitive and things like that. And basically like the points that I wrote down that I really wanted to like touch on when it comes to these like specific characteristics of femininity is that I hate the idea that these are like fragile or like anything feeding into the idea that femininity is like fragile or it is like inferior to masculinity or any of those things, because like while being gentle or being like sensitive can be seen as like soft, I don't know, soft terms, soft, like, characteristics, I guess.
Tender.
Yeah. There are, like, I feel like there's strength in those words.
Yeah.
So, like, for instance, being gentle, having that sense of, like, patience and, like, awareness almost of when to be, like, gentle instead of, like, the opposite, which would be, like, harsh and, like, lashing out or anything like that. Like, there's strength in being able to, like, compose yourself enough to bring out that softness.
It's healthy.
That. Yes. And then, like, when it comes to being sensitive, I hate that because it's like, is sensitive being considered like I'm in touch with, like, my emotions? Like, is that a bad thing? Because if anything, I feel like that should be, again, like, something that you hold power in, like being emotionally aware, emotionally intelligent, and sensitive to feeling your feelings. Like, that should be seen as, like, a powerful thing.
Like you said, being in touch with your feelings, it's empowering because you're able to understand yourself at a deeper level. You're able to understand triggers. You're able to understand in what ways you can help your mental health. All these things that lead to a better quality of life.
Right.
In general. And when it comes to women, because we talked about this when I was told by an ex that it's not my fault, you're too sensitive, right? When you have children, you're able to teach your children all these things about feelings and how to go about them because, again, and I'm focusing on feelings because that's a big thing with women.
Right.
Where we're told that we're too sensitive, too emotional.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry to go into politics, but the president, what was told about every single female candidate that was running for president? They're too emotional. They're gonna hit the nuclear weapon button the minute they
feel some type of way.
They feel some type of way. And it's like, no, if anything, it's healthy because you're able to control your feelings. You're able to be so in touch with them that you have control over them and you don't let them control you.
Right.
Right. So like you said, there's strength in that. And it's not something to be looked as inferior or make you any less qualified for any role that you want to take on in life.
Yeah. If anything, like I said, there's more power to it. There's more, like, substance to it, you know? It should hold just as much value. And I also think, I'm glad you touched on motherhood because I think all of these qualities together, obviously, as, like, a woman and part of, like, femininity is that nurturing, like, aspect to it. And I think all of these different things, like being able to be gentle, being in touch with your emotions and your sensitivity, and amongst other things, you know, all play a huge role in how well you nurture as a parent, as this plays into you as a partner. And obviously, like, having that nurturing person, that nurturer in your life while you are young is, like, a super important thing to growing up and having those same qualities, being able to be, like, that self-aware or being taught, like, how to handle your emotions and things like that. Because, for example, like, I didn't grow up with a mom that was, like, super nurturing like that, right? And so, not to say that if I did have that, my life would be, like, this, you know, it would make that much difference. But I feel like having gone through what I have gone through to get to the point where I am with my emotional intelligence and, like, my self-awareness and feeling my emotions and just all the things, that I may have had better tools, better examples of how to handle those things.
You basically wouldn't have had to start from zero.
Exactly. Like, I wouldn't have to learn that for myself. That would have been something that I would have been taught.
You would have some, like, stepping stones. To get to where you
And so, like, for example, for, like, my kids, like, while I do have boys, I do think that that's still, like, me tapping into my femininity and that nurture role and all those things is still going to play a huge part, if not more with boys. Okay, I don't want to say more with boys than with girls, but it's also a big part for boys because they're not usually taught.
It's just as important.
That Yeah, I guess that's a good way to put it. It's just as important to teach that to boys as it is for girls, because a lot of the times boys are the ones that they don't get that.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but again, because just how women deal with stereotypes, right? I don't want to go away from women, but we've always said we're also for men, you know?
Yeah.
They deal with stereotypes as young as in kindergarten. Oh, you're such a crybaby.
Yeah.
Don't cry. Oh, no, you're crying like a little girl. And it's okay. You know, boys also have feelings. And it's good to teach them that feelings are okay. Because again, women are seen as fragile and weak. So they use us as comparison to make men feel weak, right? Yeah. But when you don't teach this to men, when men go on to have children, they won't know unless they do the work. They won't know how to show up for the children emotionally, right? Mm-hmm. So a lot of the times you see children going to women, to their moms for those needs. But when you have boys, who do they go to? Because they might not know to go to their mom, you know, because I don't know. I don't have little boys. I don't know what they think, you know, but I would assume that they would feel more comfortable going to their dad, right? But what happens when they go to their dad and their dad doesn't know how to go about the situation because they were always taught that feelings were bad, or they weren't taught anything about how to be in touch with their feelings, so therefore they don't know how to go about helping their own children, only leading to their young boys being also machistas, being like keeping this stereotype. Like it's something that continues, bleeds on and on and on.
Yeah, and you'll get stuck in the cycle if you're not the one that that ends it. And I think that's what I'm trying to get to, I guess, to round it out. It's basically like you are the first step to, you know, your children having that same sense, boys or girls, your children in general having that sense of emotional, you know, awareness and being okay with feeling their feelings. I'm glad that we kind of touched on or started to go into the whole idea of men not having that same expectation, because I think a huge part of the way that femininity is seen and these social norms that are created for us to those expectations for us to meet is gender roles.
Since we're talking about how it's okay for men to have feelings, right? I guess you could say tap into femininity in a way. Women also tap into masculinity.
Yeah.
And you see that a lot in single moms or even moms in a relationship who still have to go to work and stuff, you know, who are constantly, who aren't able to tap into their own femininity,
right?
Because they're always having to work extra hard to put food on the table, you know, have to have their job. They're just so go that they don't have time to just sit down, relax, and just tap into that side of their girlhood, and it only leads to them getting into depression, feeling their brains not stopping at all, not getting a break, not getting that mental health care.
There's no balance there.
There's no balance.
Is super important.
Which is why, again, it's so important to tap into your femininity for you to feel sane and not lose yourself with life.
Right.
And I mentioned this in one of my TikToks, or I wanted to tap more into my femininity because I feel like I've gotten so lost in motherhood that I don't have a sense of self that's separate from just motherhood. So again, it's not a fragile thing. It's a normal thing that as humans all need to do. Just be emotionally aware. And
that looks different for everyone too. I think that's the biggest part of that, because while we have, and this was another point that I had touched on another point that I had made that I wanted to touch on was that not everybody is like us, who have the supportive partners that allow us with the part that they play.
Yeah.
So we have that balance where they are able to take on more of the traditional masculine roles, and we are able to take on more of the traditional feminine roles.
But as wives, because we talk about this, we also have these conversations with our partners where we let them know that it's okay to have feelings. And we tell them it's okay. If you're struggling, come to me. Like, it's nothing to be ashamed of. I'm here for you.
Right. And in turn, there's also been times where, like, for both of us, where we've also had to work to help be a provider on top of doing all of the other, like, stereotypical feminine, you know, woman gender role tasks. So it just depends on, like, what you have going on in your life. Because, like, as you said, like, single mothers who have to provide have to be the providers, they have to be the homemakers, they have to do all of the parenting, like, they're doing it all. Tapping into that, you know, softer feminine side is still really important. And I don't think that should be looked at in, like, a negative light. I think that's the biggest thing that we're trying to get at.
And I'm glad you say that too, because I feel like with single moms especially, it's so frowned upon when they want to have, like, a day to themselves. They're like, oh, she's leaving her kids with someone, and she's going, heck yeah, let her.
Every single day, she shows up for everybody else except for herself.
So if she needs a whole day to herself, as long as she's a great mother and as long as she's feeding her kids and showing up for them and providing for them,
there should be
that
no
woman,
issue with it.
exactly, that woman should also be able to show up for herself if she very much pleases.
Right. So basically all that to say that gender norms in general, they don't have to be looked at in a negative light, masculinity or femininity. Obviously, we're focusing more on femininity here. But just remember that those feminine, like, norms or expectations that are, like, the stereotypical, you know, whatever, it's going to look different for everybody. Basically, all that to say that gender roles in general, masculinity or femininity, don't need to be looked at in a negative light. They each play their roles. They're each essential for, you know, a good balance. And yeah, obviously we're focusing on femininity here, but I don't think they need to be looked at negatively either way. And not one is, like, inferior to the other. I think that's another big point. I'm currently, like, going through this, so this was, like, the first thing that came to my mind when we were talking about this being our topic for today, and that is birth control. Yeah. So I've shared a TikTok on it, maybe a couple by now, but I was on the Nexplanon implant, which is the little bar that goes inside of your arm. The one that I got was good for 3 years at a time, and then you would have to go and, like, either get it out or get it replaced. I think they have one now where it's good for, like, up to 5 years. But I got offered that one when I did my last, like, replacement. But because we didn't know when we were planning on wanting to try for another child, I just did the 3-year one so that I could make that decision later. But before that, I was on the birth control pill. That was before I had my first son. And I don't remember really there being any, like, weird side effects to that. I still had, like, my normal cycle and whatnot, but I did get pregnant off the pill. Like, I was taking the pill and I got pregnant. So kind of defeated the purpose of it being birth control, but and then after we had my second son, I wasn't on anything in between. And then after we had my second son is when I got on the Nexplanon. For the most part, I think that I liked it. Like, I preferred it because very early on it stopped my cycles. So, like, I would not have a period at all. And obviously that sounds like a dream, right? Not having to, like, worry about bleeding and the hormonal changes and everything like that every month. But as time went on, I, like, started to think more about it. And I'm like, first of all, I don't know, like, what effects this is going to have on my body long term. And, like, I didn't have a period for 6 years. Well, almost 6 years. So 5, almost 6 years. By the time I would have gotten it out. So I got it out early. I got it out in September of this year. I was due to get it removed in April of next year. And, but still, like, that long term of, like, not having your, like, body's natural cycle. I also didn't know what kind of like effect that was going to have on my fertility, like long term. It may not, but who knows, you know?
Yeah.
All of the hormones that you're pumping through your body. And then that's another thing is like all the hormones that are being pushed through, that do they like really need to be there? Like, would I have more control over my libido, my emotions? Like, would I just feel more in control of my body, like hormonally, without all of that there? So I made that decision to get off of it. But I just think that, for one, very pro-choice over here. So whatever you feel like you need to do with your body in general. I just think that when it comes to like birth control, there's obviously two people that like play a part when it comes to baby making. And I just hate the fact that it is looked at like in the scope of it's all on the women to be doing or taking precautions or whatever when it comes to like not having babies. Mm-hmm. And meanwhile, these men are out here, you know, they could have sex with, I thought about it like a certain way. So women, like, you get pregnant, right? And you can only have one baby in the span of 9 months, unless you have twins or whatever, but one pregnancy, right? Let's call it one pregnancy in the span of 9 months if you get pregnant. Meanwhile, men can go and have a baby every freaking day of those 9 months if they wanted to.
Every single day. Yeah.
You know? So why is the birth control on us?
When it's them.
That are more...
The egg fertilizers.
Yes.
Literally. Continue to touch on that. Because women release one egg.
Right.
Only. Mm-hmm. Every cycle. Sometimes two. That's how twins happen. Yeah. Right, whatever. Unless one
splits. They have one cycle.
Just call it one cycle. One egg releases every cycle.
Yes.
Men release millions of sperm every time they have intercourse. Mm-hmm. So exactly, who's the real problem here? Not the problem. I don't want to say that word, but
not in a negative light, but the one that should be like, in control. It's called birth control. So who should be controlled?
The way birth control is pushed on women is insane. Every time you go for a pap smear, or every time you go get a checkup, or every time you go get a checkup for your kid, are you on birth control? Have you considered it? Have you thought about this? Every time that I would say no, it wasn't until they stopped asking about, well, the pill, there's also the IUD. Mm-hmm. Well, how come you don't want to be on birth control? Mm-hmm. And it's as simple as I don't want to. But they would only ever ask me if my partner was going to do any birth control method, as in the vasectomy, until I said no to all of them. So he was the last resource.
And then it's like, stop asking me. You like set that boundary and like made it clear. And I'm glad you touched on that, because when I went to go get my Nexplanon removed, that came up too. So they took me in or whatever, the nurse, and she did my vitals or whatever. And she was like, what is the reason that like you're getting it removed? And I was just like, I explained to her how I haven't like had my cycle, how like I want to start getting my body back into my natural, just my natural ways.
Time, natural clock.
Yeah. And she was like, okay, so you don't want any like alternative like form of birth control today? And I was like, no. So then she kind of like left it at that, right? Well, then the doctor comes in, the one that's going to be actually doing the removal. And then the nurse leaves and the actual doctor comes in, the one that's going to do the removal. And she's like, she basically is asking me the same question. She's like, so what are you going to do for birth control then? And I was like, nothing, like I don't want birth control, you know? And she was like, well, are you actively trying for a baby then? Mm-hmm. And I'm just like thinking to myself, I'm like, why is this any of your business? Like if I am or if I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, what is it to you? I told Billy afterwards, I was like, I should have been like super freaking blunt with her and been like, actually, we're just doing the pull and pray method, like if you must know, like you know what I mean? Because it's just like, why are you like in my business like that?
Did my mom ask me the other day? She was like, Mija, what are you taking care of yourself with? Nothing. She didn't say nothing else because that's none of your business.
Yeah.
Like, dude, if we're going based on my cycle and the pull-out method, that's enough for me.
I mean, and going with the topic of societal norms, are you going to pressure a man the same way that you're pressuring me? Like, oh, what are you doing to, like, not have babies?
Yeah.
Like, why is it all on me to, like, you know, meet that expectation or whatever?
Yeah.
So, anyways, as soon as I told her, like, no, that we weren't doing anything and that we weren't necessarily trying for a baby, but that if it happens, it happens. Because ideally, like, timeline-wise, in our perfect world, we would be trying sometime, like, next year. Obviously, we have, like, other goals that we are prioritizing other than that, because we already have our 2 kids and things are expensive nowadays and things like that. Like, so all things considered, in our perfect timeline, we would be trying by next year. But again, keeping that in mind and, like, what we want on top of, like, me being on long-term birth control for an extended period of time, not knowing, like, all the side effects, yada yada, we wanted to give my body time to get back into the groove of things. And, like, I think no is a sufficient answer in itself. Like, I don't know why they, like, grill women so much about birth control at these kinds of appointments. And it doesn't even have to be, like you said, it doesn't have to be like gynecology or OB appointments or anything like that. It's literally, like, any appointment that they're like, are you sexually active? Are you on birth control? Are you this and that? Mind your business. What's another one?
Well, we were just talking about this, but shaved armpits.
Oh, yeah.
Because when I was fixing my hair...
societal norms of appearances.
Yeah, when I was fixing my hair, I realized that I haven't shaved my armpits.
Yeah.
Jail.
Just appearance in general when it comes to, like, women. Like, you should look a certain way. I mean, like, especially... social media has come a long way. And I think we talked about this before. When we were talking about Brandy Melville and, like, their size range and, like, things like that. And the Victoria's Secret fashion show just happened and they had some plus size models and, like, women of color, and just, like, the expectations, like, are, okay, quote unquote expectations. We're steering more clear of those and, like, starting to be more accepting of every body type and every skin type and all of those things. But like I said at the beginning, there's always room for improvement.
Yeah.
And
I actually think that they weren't scared this time.
Yeah.
Because I think, was it a year ago or 2 years ago? Correct me if I'm wrong, but they actually, the Victoria's Secret fashion show had a fashion show where they tried to do the whole inclusivity thing, but it didn't work out because it came off as, like, very, like, minimal effort almost. And I was like, you're kind of just doing it to be like, here we're doing, like, it, shut the fuck up.
Like, yeah.
But this time they added, and I know everyone was so mad about the influencers in the fashion show, but I personally love that they did that.
Yeah.
Because right now TikTok is huge.
Right.
Like, you are reaching a bigger audience, and they had everybody. They had the OG models, they had athletes, they had influencers. One of my favorite ones, she's Gabby Mora. She's Brazilian, and her body's all natural, but she looks as if she had gotten a BBL. But one of the things that people say is she's Brazilian. What do you go and ask for to a surgeon when you want to get a BBL? A Brazilian.
I want a
butt
Brazilian
lift.
ass.
And she's just, and I'm like, thank you, like, for putting her out there, because, I mean, it's just like, she's thick. She's a big chested girl, which, again, a lot of women feel like they have to be super skinny, super petite, have just, like, again, fit into a one size.
But, like, if it's a one size fits all type of item, now, like, nowadays it, like, usually says one size fits most instead of one size fits all. But the reason that this is such a big deal with the fashion show is because a lot of the times these influencers, these celebrities, these models are, like, before it was like, oh, you could only be like America's Next Top Model. Like, everybody looked the same as far as, like, size goes, you know, height, like, you have to be tall, you have to be skinny, you have to be this, you have to be that. Another, like, really good example is, like, the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Like, if you watch the show and, like, the fittings, like, the way that they have to, like, fit into their uniforms and things like that is a big make or break whether or not they get onto the team. So it's just, like, all these expectations and these, like, social, like, societal, like, norms that are, like, this picture perfect painting of what we as women should conform to. And it's like, that is not reality.
And these are being seen by little girls too, which is why I'm so happy that the Victoria's Secret fashion show, because when I was like 12, 13, I was binge watching all the Victoria's Secret fashion shows. Like, I'm a diehard fan for them. And so I'm glad that they're bringing all these other women, because now girls feel more comfortable in their body.
Seen. Yeah.
They're like, wait, you're telling me that I can be part of that, even though like I'm not this like 120-pound girl. Barbara Palvin, you know who she is?
No.
Dylan Sprouse's
yeah.
In 2019, she was considered a plus size model. Mind you, she's so skinny. Yeah. And she's beautiful. I mean, she's thicker, like on the hips, but she's so skinny, and she was considered plus size just because she was like a couple sizes bigger. But
the beauty standards are just actually ridiculous.
But I'm just glad that at least, especially Victoria's Secret being such a huge like brand known all over the world, like I'm just glad that they're the ones that are taking those steps to make everyone else feel seen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's like the biggest
you're seeing stretch marks, you're seeing small chest, big chest, hyperpigmentation. I mean, just long hair, short hair, different textures of hair, you know? You don't have just what's it called? The typical like blowout.
Yeah.
You know, like there's
blonde haired, blue-eyed, skinny, like whatever.
Everything. Yeah. Inclusivity.
Yes.
Another thing that I wanted to talk about was kind of like the pressure that young girls go through, having to feel like they have to look a certain way or dress a certain way in order to feel worthy of like a boy's love, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what they are. Everyone's a boy, a girl when we're like in this school, basically. And obviously I didn't see this point of view until I grew up, but with my little sister and even with my daughters, one of the things that I want them to focus on is just being themselves, right? And it's one of the conversations that I have with Vanessa, my younger sister, where I'm like, just go to school, focus in school. Boys are not the priority. They're not the prize.
Yeah.
And they're not the priority. You are, right? And I say this because when I was younger, I used to say that, and I mean, still, like, it's very much true to this day, but in high school, I considered it my fashion show. But it wasn't just for me. I love dressing up to go and feel pretty, because I knew that, like, the boys would be looking, whatever, you know? And it's like...
Well, that's a little bit... That shouldn't be looked at in a negative way either, because that's like a boost of self-esteem. Like, when it's one thing for yourself to like feel pretty and like have that confidence, but when other people notice that confidence in you too, that's like... That's a boost, you know?
Yeah. And it can be healthy, but it gets unhealthy when you start comparing yourselves to other girls that have other qualities. And this is where confidence also plays a big part, because you have to understand that like there is beauty and power in being unique, right? But if you don't understand that, you start trying to mold yourself into other people who you will never ever be able to become.
Yeah.
And I used to always look at the popular girls who play sports, and really in our school that we went to, we had the Poms, we had the cheerleaders, right? And a lot for me, I would look at the Poms and they were so popular. Look at the cheerleaders, they were so popular. But it was like, although I feel like I could have maybe tried out, you know, in my senior year, maybe joined the cheerleading team, because the Poms was like a definite never
exclusive.
That was like only dancers,
VIP access.
I was like, I at least had a chance with the cheerleading team, you know. But it still seems so like I could never compare, you know. So I just like, I don't know. I was like, I'll just be myself, be unique, and because with these popular teams and like groups, there's more male connection, right? Because you have the football team, the girls cheer every football team, right? The Poms dance at every single like sports game, assembly, whatever. So they were getting all this attention, and it's kind of like the attention you can't compete with, unless you're like super pretty, super unique, right? And that's what I'm getting at, where like as young girls, we always we always compare ourselves to other girls who we believe are prettier than us. And that's not the case. It's just find power in your uniqueness and who you are as an individual, and just stick to that. Also, another thing is I feel like young boys have very unrealistic expectations. And a lot of that, obviously, young boys sometimes develop an addiction to like corn and stuff. And I feel like it's just because, I mean, when I was younger, I've been asked for like nudes and pictures, right? And one of my biggest worries was, wait, like, is my body like pretty enough for that?
Yeah.
You know, almost like, do I meet the expectations almost?
Right.
And it starts making you like overanalyze your body, overanalyze, again, just the uniqueness of who you are. And it makes you start wishing that like you look different, you know? And it's just...
So building that confidence in yourself, basically,
is important.
Like, is the biggest importance, because that's exactly why we're talking about what we're talking about, because like that's how we had it in our heads too, you know, like these expectations of us of what our body should look like, or questioning like ourselves in like our qualities, like whether or not it meets that expectation. Like, we're here to like start the conversation that should not even be like a thing. Yeah. You know, like you should find confidence in the characteristics that make you uniquely you. Yeah. Like we mentioned this little saying a couple times now, but that saying that comparison is the thief of joy. Yeah. Like you are not gonna, and one thing to think about too is like the way that you were comparing yourself to like all these other like popular girls in school, like who's to say that they are not like idolizing somebody else, and everything that they're doing, or like the way that they're wearing the hair, the way that they're dressing, the way that they're doing their makeup or whatever, is being influenced by someone else that they look up to. You know what I mean? So you're setting this expectation for yourself to be like this person, but then this person is striving to be like this person,
and it's they're like, not struggling as well. And, it's sad to say, but I've personally never dealt with one, but eating disorders also come. I feel like even boys and girls deal with this, you know. And again, it's the same for boys. Maybe there's boys who don't play football that wish they looked a certain way, wish they met a certain physical stereotype in order to be able to feel like they're worthy of playing football, in order to feel like they're worthy, or in order to feel like they're strong enough to even join a team, you know. And this just goes back to parenthood and just making sure that we're helping our children just be comfortable with who they are.
To thrive, strive, and thrive in all the ways when it comes to like emotionally being, you know, aware, and then like also just like helping to build like their confidence, and just setting the blueprint for there is no like expectation, you know, just be you, and that should be enough.
Well, and back to like stereotypes and like those I guess like images that we feel like we have to maintain as women. But I remember being in 4th grade and wanting to shave my legs because I was so ashamed of my hairy legs. And it's not even that they were like super hairy, it's just that because as a Mexican girl, like my hair is just darker, you know. And I mean, shaving your legs, shaving your mustache, plucking your eyebrows, and things that young girls are so eager to start because they see other girls doing it, and then they start getting embarrassed because maybe the boys are making fun of them. So it all comes down to a lot of the shame comes from young boys who make fun of them for it. And that's how it leads to them being worried about the male gaze and how they're viewed or perceived by men.
Yes. Now that we're talking about the men, or the male gaze in specific, we also wanted to talk about sexuality. And the idea that if women are, you know, super open with their sexuality, or I don't even want to say overly sexual, because what even is that? You know what I mean? But just how there are different views of sexuality when it comes to women and men.
Different criticism.
Yes. For women, a lot of the times it's, you know, you are sexual at a certain age, or you have a certain amount of like sexual partners, or whatever the case may be. You know, you have those nasty terms like slut, you're a whore, you're this, you're that. And in turn, like you look at it, and if you're looking at it when you're talking to a man, men are like praised for if they've slept with this amount of women, like, oh, you got that many, like, you know, like it's something that they're like hyped up about. But when it's women, it's like, oh no, like
it's something
to be shameful of. Yeah. But with like being over sexual, I also feel like it's kind of like a damned if you do, damned if you don't type of situation, because also if you like aren't as sexual and you don't like maybe like advertise it as much, whatever that means, or people people don't know, then you're also considered like a prude. But I feel like all of those things are like, that expectation is set in comparison to men, or like in comparison to the expectation kind of like set by men. You know what I mean? Because I feel like in a lot of ways too, like women's like sexual like purpose almost is a lot of the times to please men. But like there's not as much focus on like women's pleasure in sex, you know?
I think it all comes down to that, like you said, like women having to be the ones, or the idea that women are there for the male gaze, women are there for the pleasure of men. And the thing with like being sexually active, like you said, sometimes girls will go and like try to, I guess, rush to being sexually active to approve of like the young boys, like, hey, like,
well, just the same way that we, like, you were talking about the way that, like, you looked. Like, your school being, like, your fashion show because you, like, wanted that extra attention of, like, men. It's the same thing when it comes to, like, putting out for men. Like, oh, you get in a little high school relationship or whatever, and you want your boyfriend to think of you as, like,
cool,
or, like, sexy, or, like, have that, you know, whatever expectation. And so maybe you do more than like you're comfortable with, all because that's that expectation set.
And not only that, but because you want this approval of this boy. Because I know when I lost my virginity, I was not ready. He is 3 years older than me. So I was rushing to this point in my life and to lose my virginity because I wanted him to see me as like mature and like I was ready for it the way he was, you know, and it was all for his approval because I liked him. I thought he was cute. And even in high school, even when I moved to this town, city, it was a thing of like, I guess it's almost like to please them,
right?
You know, again, their approval. Being sexually active isn't bad, and waiting for marriage to lose your virginity isn't bad as well. Is what attention you do it with, right? Are you doing it because you're doing it for yourself, you know, for your own pleasure, which is, you know, props to you, girl. But you understand the risk. You understand that pregnancy is a risk. You understand that STDs are a risk, right? But then if you're doing it simply because you want to please a man, regardless of understanding all these things, you're just doing it because you need his approval, that is where you are putting yourself in jeopardy. And you are prioritizing someone else other than yourself. Because prioritizing yourself means you're more selective with who you're being intimate with, right? I didn't do that. And I didn't do that with other partners that I've had. But when you are able to do that, you're keeping yourself, you're taking better care of yourself. You're being safer. You're, you're less at risk of, girl, I cannot tell you how many pregnancy scares I had in high school.
Oh my God.
I cannot tell you how many times I sat there on my bed crying while my whole family was in the living room crying and praying, I'm late, please don't let me be pregnant, God, I promise you I will stop. Did I stop? No, I didn't fucking stop. But when I tell you it is a fear that I hated, that literally messed with me, I couldn't sleep over this fear. It's just, no boy is worth that. Right? And you have to, again, just be more selective. Being sexually active isn't a crime. Just be more selective, and remember, it all comes down to taking care of you.
Yes.
And not putting anyone else before you. Especially at this young age. you know?
Yeah.
And again, it just stems from girls will put that aside, and I've done it. I felt like I've been pressured into being sexually active with boys, all because I've had a partner in high school that, I mean, it was very obvious he just wanted like to be sexually active. And I was more like, whoa, I thought we were going for ice cream.
Yeah.
You know, and in like broad daylight, this man was trying to like, and I was just like taken back, and it clicked. I was like, wait, we're here for you.
Right.
You know, like, you don't give a shit about me or the fact that I got ready and did my makeup and came with the illusion of going to get ice cream with you and spending quality time. You just want 3 minutes of pleasure and then drop me off home.
I'm so glad that you touched on that too, because with women's sexuality, and like specifically I had touched on like with my birth control and like how the hormones messed with things like libido, like your sex drive. That is something that is like overlooked entirely as well, because when it comes to sex and like men being like quote unquote ready for sex, it literally takes like a second for them. Like it is like a quick little, like all they have to do is think about like wanting to have sex and they're ready to go. And for women, it is so much more, like it's so much more deep than that. It is emotional. It is like, what's those people like make videos about it all the time, how like foreplay starts in the morning, at the beginning of the day, and it's all day long, because it's just so much more like emotional for us. Like you said, when it comes to like that relationship that you're talking about, like you wanted that quality time and you like got all dolled up and ready for that date, and who's to say that like later on, like after you guys went and got ice cream, after you guys went and like, you know, talked for a little while or whatever, you wouldn't be open to like having sex with him. But the fact that that's like all he wanted, because, you know, it's so easy for him to just be like turned on like that. It's not like that for women. And same thing with like when it comes to like climaxing during sex too. It's not as simple for women. For men. Yes, it's very like, it's an intricate like thing, sex in general for women. And but all that to say that like it's just so like stereotyped, stigmatized, whatever, all the words, that it's more focused. I guess that's the word you could say. It's more focused on like men's pleasure than it is women's.
And it's also, this is why like having the right partner and a partner that's patient, my voice is just like a partner that's patient matters, and a partner that cares for you and not just their needs. One of my exes, we used to go to the same gym together all the time. And this time we went to the gym, didn't even go in, and we had like talked about like being intimate, you know. And I don't know why I didn't want to. Once we got to the gym, like I backed out, you know. If you haven't caught on, we were gonna do it in the car. And he got mad at me. He got so mad, he got out of the car and walked home. And which I want to go back and slap myself in the face, because I drove to his house and waited for him to get there. He got there, and I don't know if I apologized or if I was just like explaining to him why I didn't want to do it. But the simple fact that he threw a tantrum like a little fucking kid, like a fucking child, and couldn't understand the fact that I didn't want to do it anymore.
Like, no means no.
I didn't need a good reason. It was just as simple as I wanted to do it, and now I don't. Like, that's good reason enough, and it should be, for me, it should be good reason enough for you. But the fact that he threw a fucking tantrum like a fucking child in high school was kind of like, ew.
Like gave you the ick.
It gave me the ick. Like, really? Like, you're
that upset about it?
You're that upset? You need it that bad that you have to fucking get out of the car and walk home? It was it was raining, mind you. It was freezing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it had just rained. So it was just like...
But women are dramatic? We're the drama queens?
Yeah,
like
and it's just... It all goes back to... I'm sorry, but men's need are not the priority.
Right.
Your needs matter just as much as men.
It should be an equal playing field.
And this all, again, and this is important because it all just goes back to women feeling like they have to meet stereotypes or be pressured into certain things because of men. And because of the concept and ideas that men have in their twisted little minds.
And all of these things that we've talked about too, like I said, kind of towards the beginning about how like it's your choice, it's your personal choice. I just want to emphasize that a little bit more too, because we're speaking on what these norms are like society wise, like societal norms, right? But it is 100% up to you. It is a personal choice. What qualities and what part of these you choose to embrace and which parts you don't.
Yeah.
Like it shouldn't be like check all these boxes, you know, across the board. It should be, you know, well, I feel like embodying my femininity in this way, but in this way, I don't. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're able to pick and choose, and that right there should be what the societal norm is. Is being able to pick and choose what applies to you and what doesn't. And, you know, that should suffice. But it shouldn't be like, oh, you have to, you know, meet all of these expectations in order to be one way or the other. Does that make sense?
Yep. Really, really quick, guys. We don't have to spend a lot of time on this one, but in a lot of movies, for example, like The Princess Diaries, right? You see this like humble girl who has frizzy hair, and she's not really like, no one really pays attention to her.
She wears glasses, she has braces, like all the things that are considered like not attractive.
Yeah, and no one pays attention to her until her hair has like a blowout. It's just like this. It's gone. All the frizz is gone. She's more like, I guess, more fashionable. Mean Girls. We have I don't even remember her name, but she comes from Africa, and she just wears like her oversized tee, regular pants, but she's not really paid attention or like looked at or Katie admired until she has this whole full-on makeover by the other girls, the group of 3. And I feel like this also, again, stereotypes.
That's what I was gonna say.
What, like, you don't have to have a full wardrobe or your hair straight to make you feel worthy of being pretty or worthy of the male gaze.
Right.
And that's one of the things that with my daughters,
it's the representation.
Yes.
The way that it's presented and the way that it's represented that creates those ideas.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And with my daughters right now, one of my biggest focuses is making sure that they love themselves for who they are. So, because when I was younger, I have really frizzy hair. And when I was younger, my mom didn't know how to
take care of it.
When she would do 2 pigtails, they would do pigtails, and they were full of frizz.
Oh.
And it was just, I mean, I felt ashamed of it, you know? But anyways, with Lulu, she has curly hair, so does June. So my biggest goal is to take such good care of their hair and their curls that they fall in love with them. That they don't feel like they have to straighten their hair every single day or twice a week in order to feel pretty. I want them to be able to embrace who they are and their hair, the frizziness, and understand that there's different shapes to their hair. Different stages. The frizzy hair or the super hydrated curls, but every stage is okay.
Yeah.
Right? That just because you have curly hair doesn't mean that it's bad. You can have curly hair and it can look good and it can look maintained, right? And it's all because, again, we go through, you see it in movies, you see it, I mean, real life, you know, and anyways, yeah, I don't want my daughters to have to feel like they have to meet a certain criteria in order to be seen or valued as pretty or considered pretty.
Right. Yeah. See, and I was like the opposite when I was younger. I was like almost embarrassed and ashamed of my like super straight hair. Like I constantly wanted, and there's that saying where it's like you don't, what is it? Like you don't know what you want until you can't have it or like something like that.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like,
oh no, you don't know what you have until you can't have it.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it was something along the lines of like, because I had super straight hair and people would like ask me all the time like, oh, your hair's like naturally straight, and I'd be like, yeah, but like you wish so bad that you could have those like natural curls or those natural waves.
Volume.
Yeah, like you see all the people that are like, oh, these are my natural waves, like I didn't have to do anything to my hair, and it's like, well, like us that don't have like anything, that have to either, my hair was like kind of like in between where I had to straighten it for it to be like completely straight, but then I also had to curl it in order for it to be like curly. You know, it was kind of like that in between. Like I didn't feel comfortable or like pretty necessarily wearing it like natural. Like I felt like I had to do something to it.
Are you talking about you don't know what you have until it's gone?
No.
Oh, okay.
There was another saying. It's like something about like you want what you can't have.
Yeah. Oh.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
You want what you can't have. And yeah, that was kind of like my like little like, oh, I want to be one of those girls that has like naturally really pretty curls and like, you know, whatever. Kind of like round this all out. We're going to go into like speaking about like what femininity looks like for us personally. Because like I said, and I'll keep saying it, like I feel like it should be very selective. Like you get to pick and choose what applies to you and what doesn't. For me, things like pouring into my appearance, having my nails done, getting my hair done, getting all dolled up and doing my makeup, putting thought into like my cutesy little like outfits or whatever, like pouring into myself that way and like leaning into my femininity in that way fills my cup. That makes me feel, you know, pretty. That makes me feel that confidence boost, you know, that I want. Also with that, being the nurturer, like for my kids and like having those talks about like emotions and all of those things. Like I mentioned, like I have boys, so that's like extra prioritized for me because I want them to all the things that we talked about, like growing up knowing that like emotions and feelings and all of that are okay, and there are ways to like building the healthy habits to like deal with those things, right? I love being like the homemaker for my children and for my partner. You know, doing the cooking and the cleaning and I don't know, just like the homemaking, decorating for like seasons and stuff like that. I love doing that kind of stuff. And while that could be seen as like a like feminine stereotype, you know, doing all the homemaking and stuff like that, that's something that I like to lean into. That's something that I actually like enjoy doing. All that to say that I am also able to like lean into my femininity in this specific way because of the partner that I have. So because I have that balance that we were talking about at the beginning, where I chose a partner that in just like I have like my roles for my family, he also plays his role as the provider and as like the one that does all the like sporty things with my boys and like whatever like more masculine roles look like for him that he enjoys taking on, also in turn allows me to lean into my femininity a little bit more, you know, like I'm able to stay home with my boys and do the cooking and do the cleaning while there are days where he decides he wants to cook, and he does help clean the house, like, you know, pick up after himself and things like that. Like, he helps with those things too. I am not in the position where I have to be the provider and I have to like tackle everything on my own. I'm able to like lean more into those feminine things that I choose to because of the role he plays in his masculinity. Does that all make sense? It's very like, it's all about the balance and whatever works for you. This is very specific to like our relationship and what we choose to, you know, do with our jobs, our roles.
Also, like Desi, I try to tap into my femininity by like my appearance, getting ready. I love wearing jewelry. I mean, if I could go shopping for like cute little outfits all the time, I would, you know.
Some good retail therapy.
In the near future. Getting a coffee makes you feel feminine. Like literally just the whole act of going through the coffee shop, getting a coffee,
taking pictures.
Taking cute pictures.
Oh, yes.
Also, to me, I'm not big on like the cooking and stuff.
It comes in waves. It's not like every single day I want to cook.
If I can avoid it, I'll make a good meal because I feel bad that Alex like is out there like busting his ass off at work. But if it was up to me, we'd be eating out all the time. But
even you having that feeling and that awareness is like enough to be like,
I know.
I would if I like enjoyed it. Like I would if I
could. To me, is being able to lay in bed and just watch all my reality TV and, you know, just watch the Kardashians, watch Love Island, watch freaking the Great British
the Great British Baking Show.
Yeah,
I knew where you were going.
Yeah, the Great British Baking Show. And him he literally tells me sometimes, take a nap if you need to, babe. You know, and I'm like, thanks. Because women do need more sleep than men, FYI. But yeah, I guess it's just him letting me be myself in whatever way, shape, or form that looks like.
Right. Yeah, and like with that, with us saying that like that's what it looks like for us, again, like we chose that for ourselves because of the partners that like we have, right? Yeah. Like our partners not like allow us to do that, but we're on the same level of understanding of what, okay, like this is what your role is and this is what my role is, and we're happy with that. So I think that's like another like big takeaway is that when you're thinking about like your femininity, right? And like I said, that checklist of like, this is what applies to me, this is what doesn't. When you're thinking of those values that you hold, it's also super important to hold those values true to you when picking your life partner. Because if I was with somebody who was like very machista, that would not fly with me, because that is not like, yes, I choose to like do some of like the homemaking and like things like that, but I mean, what are the like the stereotypical things of that?
To do that.
Yes, I'm choosing that. It's not like that is what's expected of me by my husband.
It's not like he's expecting you to have dinner at home made every single day.
I don't make his plate. I don't like, you know, walk behind him. I don't, you know, all those like stereotypical things of like that toxic masculinity. It's
being able to have that choice, like I told you.
Yes.
Like if you want to cook tonight or not, either way, he's fine with it.
Right.
He's happy.
Yeah.
If you want to do laundry or not, he's fine with that as well.
There's understanding and there's teamwork.
Grace.
Yeah, there's teamwork with it too. Like the example that I had given you, like some women, like maybe you want to like go and run your own business and you don't want kids. Okay, find someone who is like has those same values, who doesn't want kids, who's okay with you having just as busy of a work schedule and having that like provider mentality, you know, the same way that a man would, you know. Or if you want to be that girl boss that, you know, works this amount of hours, makes this much money, you're freaking always grinding or whatever, and your guys' goal is for your husband to be the stay-at-home dad and raise your kids. Like, if that's all okay, as long as you are choosing that for yourself, you know, I don't know how to like
no, I love it because I guess
I'm like rambling.
No, it makes sense because, for example, we live a very traditional like lifestyle, right? We get to be stay-at-home moms, our partners work, but again, it's not mandatory that we stay home. It's not mandatory that we do laundry all the time. It's not mandatory that our men have clean underwear, you know, all the time. It's not mandatory that the house is clean all the time. And it's not mandatory of our partners to, I mean, it's because again, we touching really quick back on that, like that expectation that men don't cry, men have to be tough, right? We also show our partners grace and we tell them, hey honey, like are you okay? Like we check in with them. We don't have this expectation of them of always being tough and always being masculine and just holding on to that role of them being the provider, right? Because if we need to take a step into that provider role as well, we will, right? For as long as we need to, because our partners allow us to, like, they support us whether we want to work or not, you know?
Yeah.
It's not mandatory. It's a choice.
Right.
And we respect each other's choices.
Yep. Respect your decisions. And just because that's the lifestyle that we live, like you said, like more traditional or whatever, that's what we choose, like, for ourselves. We are also very, like...
And it's I sorry to interrupt you.
No.
Because I don't want people to look at us and think, oh, I wish we could do that, but I have to work.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to like get to.
It comes with sacrifices. Mm-hmm. I haven't gone shopping for new clothes in maybe 3 months. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't fit any of my jeans.
Yeah.
I wear leggings all the time because I refuse to go buy new jeans. One, because I'm trying to lose weight.
It comes with sacrifices.
And two, because we can't afford for me to go and shop for jeans right now. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're living off of one income, guys. Yeah. It's a sacrifice. Trust me, it's hard. It's a privilege, right? We're grateful. Mm-hmm. But you have to be willing to make sacrifices.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say too, just because this is the traditional, so to say, more traditional, not 100%, but more traditional than others might be, just because that's the lifestyle that we choose and we live. It doesn't mean that we're necessarily glamorizing it or saying that this is the way that it has to be. This is the standard that should be set. That's what the whole point of this video is that it should be all of these different things. You have the choice and you have the decision.
Yeah, and you have to weight your, obviously, you have to look at your situation. To us, the sacrifices are worth it because we have little ones at home. Well, you have a job now, mm-hmm. but before you had your job, you're again, for me personally, I would rather have enough money for our needs and to take our daughters to give them some quality time, getting an ashram or whatever, than it is for me. That's more important than it is for me to go get a job, because I would rather sacrifice my comfortability and my finances as long as it means I get to watch over my daughters and make sure they're well, because no one's going to take care of your kids as well as you do, you as your parent, right?
And that's another way that you lean into your femininity then. Yeah. You're nurturing.
Yeah, I like to nurture my children myself.
Yeah, that nurturer for your kids and have that peace of mind within yourself that you are raising your kids 100% how you choose to, how you want to. Nobody else is not necessarily doing it for you, but you are doing that. And that that means something to you and your femininity. Yeah. So that's a very good point too. Yeah, I mean, overall, the biggest takeaway from this should be that it's 100% your choice. Don't feel like you have to conform to societal expectations or those stereotypes of what femininity looks like for you. Comparison is the thief of joy. You should embody 100% what was God-given to you and embrace it. And
just try to, because it's hard, right, with the world that we live in, but you're beautiful and perfect just the way you are, whether you're 90 pounds, whether you're 200 pounds, whether you're 280 pounds, whether you have stretch marks, whether you have beautiful skin, whether you have a big chest, whether you don't, right, whether you are beautiful, and do not feel pressured by society or a man or by even mean girls to look a certain way or fit a certain size. Or your own thoughts. Yeah, don't fall victim to your own thoughts, because as long as, I've always said, I don't care about the number on the scale as long as I feel good and look good, and as long as I know that I'm making better lifestyle choices, that I know that I'm not putting just junk food in my body, but I'm putting good quality meals in me,
Yeah.
As long as I know that I'm doing my best to stay healthy, that's all that matters to me. So same for you.
And whatever that looks like for you.
Yeah.
However you feel like you need to meet those expectations for yourself in a healthy manner is what's most important. So,
yeah.
I think that's everything that I had to say.
We hope that our intentions are good. So if we said anything that came off the wrong way, our intentions are good, bitch. Okay, don't fucking cancel us.
That's gonna come with talking about controversial topics.
Yeah, but hey,
that's why they're controversial. Is because there's difference of opinion. Yeah, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is why we're here.
But like we said, we're here for the girls, and we're here to touch on those controversial topics. So you don't have to. If you don't want to, And you can just repost our video in case we're saying exactly what you're thinking, but you don't want to say it yourself.
Just say period.
We'll get canceled for you, girl. It's okay. Just kidding. Please don't cancel us.
Why do we always talk about cancel culture?
So they know that we like don't
No, we
fuck.
need to. I said this in the last time that you were like, please don't cancel us. I'm like, no, we stand by what we say. 10 toes
Allegedly.
down. We're talking about confidence.
Everything we said is alleged.
You need to be confident in the opinions. What's that? That's my opinion.
Yeah. We have to stand firm on what we said. Unless you think it's gonna cancel us, then we don't. I'm just kidding.
In parentheses, unless it's gonna cancel us, then we don't. Then we take back everything that we said.
I know. The fine print.
Yeah. Hopefully you took something good or useful from this little episode, and stay tuned for the next one. We'll see you next week.
Love you. Bye.